Hello there, Daniele. Okay, sorry about that. I think yeah, they must have just been cut off by Google, by Gmail. So sorry. I'll check a bit more in more detail next time. So let's see the back. 185 words. That's way too long for your task one. Remember, 165 maximum. So the next time you send me work, remember to go through it and delete any words, sentences that are not 100% essential. But well done for getting the work back to me quick, and well done as well for following just from a brief look for following the structure. The bar graph shows the source of calories for UK males. Okay, this is a big error because the chart says one thing and you're describing something different. So it's UK males, or for UK men during three periods of life divided in dairy, meat. Okay, so that sounds as though the life is divided into dairy life, meat life, and pulses life, and vegetable life, which is not what you wanted to say. So we could have said during three different ages and from four different food groups. Okay, and then we wouldn't have to be so detailed here because that's not necessary, nor is this, and that would have got us closer to the 165 or 150 limit, which is the objective. It is clear from the graph that the major source of calorie changes accordingly to life stages. Okay, it is clear from the graph that calorie intake changes accordingly to life stages. Okay, or the major source of calorie intake. You needed the word intake. Okay, source of calories changes. Yeah, definitely. In childhood and adolescence, check your spelling. The majority of calories comes from dairy. In the adulthood from meat, and in the last part of life from pulses. Okay, this would be your overall sentence because this is kind of like the overall idea. So I would have put that kind of content at the end. Okay. During the first period of the life, okay, or during the youngest, or for the age group, calories consumed from dairy are more than double the other categories, with over 40%. 40%. Fantastic. Fancy sentence there. Well done for using that. Let's just keep it isolated, okay? Let's not mix it with whereas and respectively. Let's just try and keep sort of like one sentence for a fancy sentence. The next sentence we'll use respectively, and the next sentence we'll use whereas. You see? And this just makes it easier to follow, to read, and will improve your cohesion and coherence. So let's see, and we could even just start this sentence whereas. Whereas meat, pulses, and vegetables contribute in the same portion with 20% for the youngest group. For the middle-aged group, meat, pulses, and vegetables represent different portions. Okay, or something like that. But I love the fact that you've used respectively. Okay, and well done for grouping the percentages. Also, this is another thing. Some students will write one sentence and they'll say over a third scored 12, whereas 20% just scored 8. Okay, and the error there is when we're mixing the written fractions, a third, a fourth, a sixth, and eighth, with the numerical fractions, like percentages. You didn't do that, so well done. During the period 25 to 49 years, the largest, let's use largest, okay, instead of biggest, it sounds better. Largest calorie intake comes from meat, which reaches 50%, followed by dairy at 25%. Good. Pulses become the main source of calories for the elderly, with an impressive 65% of the total. Vegetables are the smallest source, or the least popular source, or the least consumed source, with only 10%, not at 10%. Okay, so there's some work to do here. What I recommend doing, Daniele, is doing some look, cover, write, where you get some sample academic task 1 essays, look at 2 sentences, cover it, write it out from memory, and then check it, okay? Maybe doing 2 or 3 of those a day, because there's some work to be done here. Be careful. Overall, and then we'll just give an overall story, which we said here. But this is also good. Then for the UK, vary their source of calories during their lifespan. And then we could just say, adolescents prefer dairy, middle-aged males prefer meat, and the elderly prefer pulses. Also, unfortunately, we didn't spot or identify one of the exceptions, which would have been useful. One of the exceptions is that we could have said, incidentally, vegetables represent the least, vegetables are never the most popular source of calories, regardless of age. Okay, so that's one interesting aspect we could have mentioned. Good task 1. Excellent work, but we've still got some work to do. Laws which protect intellectual property, singular, reward creativity and imagination. Good. A world without these procedures would be a worse place. Okay, probably just delete that. Or laws which protect intellectual property, reward creativity and imagination. Okay, so kind of like if you said this, the first sentence, then here you're basically saying the same. It's like saying in one sentence, lava from a volcano is hot. When it's not hot, it's cold. Can you see that kind of sentence? We're not really delivering that much information, so I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, just delete that. This essay will discuss both issues using examples, or using the example of copyright in the music industry and university. Are we talking about the music industry okay, so using examples, or using copyright examples from the music industry and the university environment to demonstrate points and support arguments. So here, what did I do? I made these 2 examples parallel, which makes it easier to read. It's an improvement, not a correction. So we say, in the music industry, 1, 2, and the academic environment. Okay, so that's just one thing to bear in mind the next time you mention 2 ideas. Okay, even if copyright regulations are relatively young, first laws have been developed in the late 20s, their introduction has helped artists in their careers since. Genius, well done, good use of that sentence, fantastic. It's because creative people such as songwriters, book writers, or entrepreneurs, good, very good, very good. Good list, have their work recognised, and they must be paid if someone else wants to use their creations. Genius. For example, Eddie Mariner, a French songwriter who wrote many songs for Celine Dion, has become very rich. His creativity is celebrated worldwide, and he is one of the most famous and wealthiest pop music composers in France. Good. If you want, write me 5 sentences with one of the most. Okay, one of the most famous bags in the world comes from Prada. One of the most largest countries in the world is Russia, because this is always in the plural. Okay, very good example and amazingly constructed, so well done. That is a genius paragraph. Well done there. Crystal clear, easy to understand argument. Genius. A society without intellectual property laws. Now, this is genius, Daniele, because look at the question. Bang. It's task response. If you carry on like this, you've got a really good chance of scoring maximum points in task response. So well done. Society without intellectual property laws would create a very difficult environment for creativity. Good. The reason is that with no rules around copyright, anyone could copy someone else's work and claim it as their original creation, causing enormous damages to others. Good. Causing enormous financial damage, maybe a little bit more specific, causing enormous legal and financial damage to others perhaps as well. For instance, students at university could copy their assignment and use other classmates' papers and receive high marks for a work that is not the fruit of their minds. Very good, very good. We just needed one article there. But genius, that's okay, it's valid. I mean, perhaps one small criticism is that we're talking about society and then you switch it to university. Okay? So maybe instead of a society without copyright laws would suffer because possibly no entrepreneurs or creative artists would be motivated to produce original work because of the lack of protection, because of the lack of financial protection. That's just one argument, but you followed the sentence guide and it's good, and it's okay. It's okay, the argument, but it could be made a little bit stronger. Okay? You're doing really good, Daniele, and I'm pleased. Let's carry on writing essays. To conclude, from the example and arguments given, examples, you gave me 2 examples. I strongly believe that laws which prevent works from being plagiarized, copied, or illegally distributed, okay, are vital in our society. Full stop. They protect and reward artists and creators, and at the same time, they prevent, slightly more sophisticated, they prevent people from stealing preposition, verb is in the gerund after a preposition. They prevent people from stealing others' original works, making the society more egalitarian, or making the society a better place to live in is okay. I'm thinking of an improvement, making the society or making the society a fairer place to live in. Okay, here's another tip. Words like good, bad, big, small, do, be, and of course the superlatives of those adjectives, and of course the adjectives, the words like worse, good, bad, better, those can usually be upgraded, okay, to better adjectives like fairer, a more equal, a more harmonious, or whatever. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So you know the score now, Daniele. Please go through this essay, implement the corrections you've heard, the same for task 1, and add them to your error list, and then resubmit them along with your 2 new pieces of work. Okay, buddy, you're doing well. Let's carry on improving.